All right, so first off, I want to say all praise to Yahweh. In the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Also, I want to say shalom to the remnant and elect of Israel. And last but not least, double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. Now, these are where I have learned this truth and where I'm still learning this truth. And, the water, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, for putting the men of the Lord in front of me. Okay, so today's video is going to be about biometric surreption. As you can tell from the title, this is another snare that Esau uses. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this a little bit, get some scriptures, and Lord willing, it'll be edifying. All right, so let's start here with the scripture first. Let's go to Ezekiel 33. Okay. So Ezekiel 33, the heading above this chapter reads, the watchman's duty. Verse 1 says, again, the word of Yahweh Baal Hashem, Yahweh Shai, or Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai, or as it has here, Lord in all caps, which goes back to Yahweh, right? But we always reverence the Son, okay? So Ezekiel 33 and 1 says, again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman, if when he see the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. This is important for you to listen to the warnings that come from the men of the Lord. All right, go filter it through the scriptures and check these things out and keep watch. Okay? This is the love of the Lord being bestowed upon you Israelites out there. Okay? And we tell you whether you hear or forbear. What I want to do in here is go to this word for sword. All right. Give me a second. Okay, here's the word.
Strong's H 2719. Cherev. Cherev.
Okay. It says sword, knife, all right, tools for cutting stone. Okay, we are the lively stones. Okay. But if you go here to look at this root word, all right, here's the word.
Strong's H 2717. Charev. Charev. Second entry. Charev. Charev.
Okay. Now this root word goes back to be waste, lay waste, make desolate, to be desolate, to be in ruins. So something that will ruin you, make it or make Israel desolate. Okay. Something that will lay Israel waste. It says to be laid waste, to be dried up. All right. But it says here to attack, smite down, and slay and fight. And these are weapons that Esau uses. Okay. What we do as watchmen of the Lord is point out these things that are being used against you Israelites. And yes, against the world too. But you are the number one target, Israel. okay, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. The bulk of the Israelites are in the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. The bulk of the Israelites are in the Caucasian or so-called white race. Does that mean all Israel is people that don't look white? No. Israel can also look white and does also look white. Does that mean Esau, all he does is look white? No. Esau can also look like a Negro, like a Latino, or like a Native American. Okay? You have to understand what we're saying here. Okay. Anyway, pointing out what biometric surreption is pointing out what this man will use as a weapon to attack and to smite down Israel and to slay Israel, whether that be physically or spiritually. Okay, we point these things out, whether you hear or whether you forbear. Our mission does not change just because most Israel doesn't listen. Okay, all that's going on when most Israel doesn't listen is prove the scriptures correct. All right, but we give these warnings anyway, so I just wanted to touch on that really quick. Now let's go back here. What is biometric surreption? It says biometric surreption means the stealthy or unperceived capture, theft, or acquisition of an individual's unique biological or behavioral data, such as fingerprints, facial scans, or voice patterns, without their knowledge or explicit consent. It says understanding the terms. It says unique as far as biometrics go. It says unique physical or behavioral traits used for automated recognition and security, like Face ID or fingerprints. Surreption says an obsolete or is an obsolete or rare formal word derived from Latin meaning a stealthy arrival, theft, or obtaining something by craft, stealth, or surprise. Okay, so it says gaining biometric templates covertly, often via compromised capture devices, high resolution cameras, or data breaches. And the permanent problem, it says, unlike a leaked password, your biological markers cannot be easily changed or reset once they are compromised. Okay, and this is what we're going to take a look at here. Biometric surreption, another tool or sword of the ones in power, all right, the wicked. All right, so give me a second here now. Now we're going to go into a little bit more of an explanation, okay, of how Esau Edom uses this as a sword, okay? So to understand how Esau, right, especially the top banking families that run this beast system, right, an example of how they can use, to understand how they use biometric surreption, we have to break down the vocabulary, right, so that you can understand clearly and see the snare. We have to clear when somebody lays a trap in the jungle or in the desert. Right, usually these traps are not just plain out and open where somebody can see that it's a trap. Right, they cover it. They do it subtly. They do it covertly. All right, set traps for you. And this is what this man does. All right. So we told you what biometrics was. We told you what surreption is. Okay. So if you put those two things together, it is the stealthy, deceptive method by which Esau steals, captures, and maps your physical body data without your full awareness of the true end goal. All right. And your end goal is to what? We read in Revelation 13. Hold on, let me go here. Because this is ultimately the main thing, right? The mark of the beast, right? Hold on a second. I'm getting back here. Give me a quick second. All right, so Revelation chapter 13, verses 16, or starting at verse 16, reads, oh, hold on. And he causeth all. This is a part of that causeth. Their plans, their plots, their confederacies, which are the people that are helping them. Okay, their groups. All right, all of that goes into the causeth. All right, this biometric surreption goes into the causeth. All right, within that word poieo, which is the Greek word that's actually in the place of causeth, you'll find it says to make ready, and so at the same time to institute. All right, so how do they make ready? This is a part of their plan, this biometric surreption. And we'll talk about that, how what this has to do with the MOTB. All right, but it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And again, that key word is causeth, poieo, to make ready, and so at the same time to institute. All right, keep that in mind there. Okay, so let's go back. And again, all right, let's start at the top again. So biometric surreption, again, is the stealthy, deceptive method by which this man, the wicked Esau Edom, steals, captures, and maps your physical body data without your full awareness of the true end goal, which is to turn your physical body into a digital node tied directly to the mark of the beast, or the charagma. That's the end goal. All right. So how is he going to apply this method of biometric surreption? Let's look at a couple examples. All right. You have to know that Esau does not come with a decree saying, all right, give me your bodily data so we can track you. They're not going to say that. We just talked about a trap. It doesn't. It's not just out there in the plain view. Right? It's hidden. Okay. So what this man does is he uses gradualism, which we have been talking about. He also uses entertainment to trap your mind. All right, get you caught up into something else that this truth should take precedence over. Okay, and he uses safety to make you hand it over willingly. Now, you think it's all worth it as long as you are entertained, as long as you are safe, as long as this man says you're safe anyway. Okay, they also use convenience. Okay, so when you set up, for example, all right, these smartphones that are all over the place. When you set up the smartphones, you're prompted to use Face ID or Touch ID, right? Like a fingerprint sensors to unlock your phone, to authorize payments or whatever, or whatever the case may be. And most of the time, the average person thinks that it's just a secure tool for their convenience, when in reality, this wicked man, Esau Edom, is building a global, centralized biometric database of the entire population's physical features, man. He's getting to know you, your habits, right? The things you like, things you dislike, the things you pay attention, the things you so-called love. All right, so why you out here just what do you call it? Um man, what is that word, man? Hold on. I really got to think of this word. It's right here. Anyway, man, while you out here not paying attention, I don't want to keep y'all waiting. So while you out here just not paying attention to anything, all right, that the scriptures are saying, all right, and the words of the Lord are faithful and true. Okay, while you're out here just, man, I can't think of the word for it right now, but just aloof, right, ignorant to, uh, 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 in your bliss caused by ignorance. This man is serious. This man is serious, man, and he's putting these things in order, and he's going to catch a lot of people out there. Okay, Lord willing, if you're listening to this with a sincere heart, with a sincere mind, all right, Lord willing, you are of that number. Lord willing, I am of that number. Okay, but there are way more people that are going to get caught up than not. Okay, there are way more people that are going to get caught up in this man's wickedness than not his traps. Okay, so let's look at another example, right? Facial recognition or a surveillance state. Now, if you walk through these airports around here or any train stations, okay, or even these smart cities that they're setting up, not even trying to set up, they're putting these smart cities up. All right, you walk through these places, and guess what? Cameras equipped with AI. All right, they're scanning your face, man. Okay, this man isn't going to tell you, but they're scanning your face and they're matching it to what they already have of you in their databases, man. What you think all these data centers are really for? Okay, they're not going to ask you to sign a waiver. They're just going to take this stuff, and and I'm saying it like it's in the past. They are taking these things, and it's being done surreptitiously. Okay, cunningly. Okay, on the low every day. All right, in these places, as you walk down the street, as you go into these buildings, they're not going to tell you, but this is what's happening. All right, and the men of the Lord seem to be, well, they are, all right, ahead of you people out there. All right, it's going to take for the, like we talked about in that last video, it's going to take for the trap door to shut on you when you have no way out for you to realize it. When all you had to do is listen, right? But the Lord put the spirit of deep sleep on your ass, man. Okay. What else do they use? Entertainment. We mentioned that. All right. So millions of people actually entertainment, also including right DNA kits like that 23andMe shit. All right, where millions of people paid them to take their DNA just to find their family history. Okay, or when you go to the doctor, when they take your stuff and check for health risks, like they can predict what's going to happen with your health. Okay, I mean they know to some extent because they're the ones making you sick for the most part. And by doing this, people have signed away their unique genetic blueprints directly into databases accessible by these people, right? Accessible by big tech, accessible by corporations, right? Because your data is ultimately the new money. You are walking money to these people, right? We were walking money at one point, Israel, okay? Slaves, cattle slaves, right? So, hey, you people of the world out there that just ignore what Israelites have been through, hey, welcome. Welcome to the future, man. You're going to see how it feels. Not to the extent that we felt it, but you are a walking slave. You're a number. You don't mean shit to these people. Especially you people who think you got some kind of status with them. They ain't letting you in. You just an a means to an end. All right. So let's talk about something else. When you go to these checkouts in all these stores, okay, these retail stores or grocery stores, right, a lot of corporations and tech platforms, they put programs where you can pay with the palm of your hand or even use facial scans. I've seen that in videos overseas, man, in Moab's country, man, China. Okay, so what they are telling you is that this is the ultimate cashless speed upgrade, right? Convenience, right? But what it's actually doing is conditioning you to use your physical anatomy as a financial transaction. Okay. So once they introduce this MOTB, it's just going to be like, well, I mean, that's the natural next step, man. And all y'all just going to fall for it. Most people. So now let's get some precepts, because this man is a hunter, man. He hunts men. All right. So let's hit Psalm 64 and 5. It says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Let's get a couple words in this verse. Psalm 65 and 5. Hold up. Let's get a couple of key words in here. Did I say Psalm 65 and 5? Hold on. 64 5. My bad. Salakia. Hold on. Psalm 64 and verse 5. All right, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see me? So let's get a few words in here. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. Let's see what this word evil means. Bad, disagreeable, unpleasant. It says giving pain, unhappiness, and misery. The only thing is you don't see it now. You see pain, you see the future pain, unhappiness, and misery. In the future, you see that now as peace, convenience, and safety, man. Okay. And you're gonna realize it again when that trap door sets, man. When that thing closes down on you people. All right, but these evil plans are disagreeable, malignant. All right, they give pain, unhappiness, misery. They're displeasing, unhappy, hurtful, unkind, wicked. All right, distress, calamity. That's what all these plans are full of, man. Let's look at another word. And I'm going to read this verse again, too. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares. What does this mean? They commune. All right, it says to rehearse, to declare. All right, to rehearse. Let's see. Declare. All right, show forth, speak, talk, tell, reckon. Hold on. All right, yeah, there's no root word for that. All right, they reckon they're going to lay snares. Let's look at what snares are. And then I'm going to look at that word privily too. What are snares? Bait, lure, snare. Down here in the Strong's definition, it says to be ensnared, snare, trap. All right. It says a noose. Noose. All right. A noose. Or it says a hook. What's this root word? Hold on. To lure, entice. Entice through what? Convenience, peace, and safety. All right. Speed. Taking advantage of your laziness. Okay. Speed. That's why most people go to them damn self checkouts. When really they scanning you all the time through that, man. They're getting something from you, something biometric, surreptitiously. Just to lure, entice, snare, lay a snare or lure, set a trap. To lay snare, figuratively, of devices of wicked. To be ensnared, be caught by bait, to be entrapped. Figuratively, a fowler. All right. Now let's look at privily. Hold on. Read the verse again. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see it? Who shall see them? Let's look at this word privily. Oh, here's a word. My bad. I ain't been playing the words. Here it is.
Strong's H 5608. Safer. Safer.
All right, my bad. I'm too close to this mic. I just realized that. These mics so good it don't take much for it to pick up your voice. So snare. Hold on. Privily, I mean. Hold on. Did I click on the right one? Hold on a second. Oh, privily. Hold on. Yeah, privily. Oh, it's the same thing as the commune. Rehearse. Let's see. Tell you what. Let's do this. Define privily. Define privily. Let's see what it says here. Privily is an old-fashioned adverb that means secretly, privately, or confidentially. Definition: doing something in a way that other people do not know or see. Whispering a plan so others cannot hear. Hiding a choice or action from public view. All right, Lord willing, we don't need any more than that. That's clear, right? So, let's go ahead and look at this again. All right, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? And like we're talking about here, biometric surreption. So the word privily here means secretly or surreptitiously, right? Surreption. So Esau's scientists and policymakers, they definitely sit in rooms planning how to map your biology, man. Otherwise, these things wouldn't be here in the forefront today. Okay. And again, they're using convenience to mask the fact that they're building a digital cage or e-carceration. They're getting this all set up. What is e-carceration? We talked about this before, but let's look at it again. What is e-carceration? E-carceration, short for electronic incarceration, is a use of digital technology by the state to track, monitor, or restrict the movements and behaviors of people outside of traditional brick and mortar prisons or jails. It is often framed as an alternative to mass incarceration, but critics view it as a digital extension of the prison system. You see, this is what they're setting up. And when you don't listen to the men of the Lord, when you don't take heed to these warnings that are coming from the men of the Lord, that are actually coming from the Lord himself, you're going to get caught up in this trap. And it's going to be painful. It's going to be, uh, you're going to be unhappy, right? Sad. All the words we just went through, man. Okay. So what Esau is basically is a soft-spoken hunter, man. Okay, let's go all the way back to Genesis 25 and verse 27. What does it say about Esau here? All right, let's start at 25 and 25. And the first came out red all over, like an hairy garment. They called his name Esau. After that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 60 years old when she bare them. Okay, 27th verse, it says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. What does this cunning mean? Let's see. Let's look at this. What define cunning? Oops, hold on. Define cunning. Cunning means having or showing a skill in achieving one's end by deceit, craftiness, or slyness. Okay? It can function as both an adjective and a noun. And in formal American usage, it can also mean cute or appealing. It's an adjective. It says clever. As an adjective, it says clever and deceitful, using smart ways to trick people or a delicate, cute appearance. As a noun, it says slyness, guile, or clever skill in planning. And this is what we've been talking about. Okay, this is exactly what we've been talking about here. All right, let me see something real quick. All right, so that's the point. Let's go back here. We're almost done. I don't even know how long this video has been going, but that's all right, man. All right, so a cunning hunter does not run away, or doesn't run. Excuse me, run away. Doesn't run at his prey. All right, making loud noises, telling you what his plan is. Telling you exactly what his plan is. What's up, man? Hold on a second. All right, excuse me. I got a visitor real quick, but it's just some tornadoes around here where we stay at. But neighbor came over and told. So let's see. Yeah, so Esau ain't gonna come and uh try to catch his prey by making loud noises. Nah, he's gonna camouflage himself. He's gonna lay traps with baits. All right, that look appealing to you. And in this case, we're speaking about an example where the bait could be a fast checkout line or unbreakable phone security, like face scans, fingerprint scans, right? Or even fun filters on social media. Right? These damn face filters have been going around. People been going crazy with them damn things, man. What you think is going on there? Okay. So what those face filters are doing are actually mapping your face. All right, just to speak plainly. So what that trap is leading to is total control over your physical measurements, man. Okay. He's getting to know you while you're not even. He's studying his prey. All right. So how would biometric surreption lead directly to the MOTB? All right. So biometric surreption is a bridge. It can be another bridge that connects a a cashless society, all right, to the literal physical injection of the mark of the beast. Okay. So what it does is it normalizes body scanning, right, through biometric surreption. Right, most people become completely comfortable using their face, their eyes, their palms, their fingerprints, to prove who they are and to access their money. Also, you have to keep that in mind because on this C-hip is going to be your medical data, right, your banking data, Things like this. Okay. But in using biometric surreption, your body and your digital bank become one. All right. And that's going to make you vulnerable. All right. Another thing they do, Esau will deliberately expose or allow flaws in the biometrics. All right, hackers are gonna find a way to copy you. All right. You've heard of uh deep fakes by now. Okay, imagine how good they are now, how good they look. People can barely even tell between reality and something fake. All right, including myself. Okay. So what do you think? What do you think is going to stop hackers from doing something like that, or at least even the belief that hackers can do something like that? Esau is depending on this, man. Okay. So what they're going to do is they're going to tell you that it's going to be on the rise, that somebody's facial recognition or palm print, right, has been copied. Okay. And that type of crime, that type of fraud is going to be on the rise. Right. And the media is going to report this all over the place. Okay. And then that's, guess what? That thing, that scan, that face scan, that palm print, them fingerprint scans, okay, are going to no longer be safe from theft. So what's the next step? Okay, the biometrics inside of your body, and this is where the Greek word poieo comes into play. Causeth all. All right. So Esau is going to tell you that biometrics are compromised, and to ensure total security, okay, to secure total security and your monies, and to secure that your medical data isn't going to be taken over. All right, it has to be placed inside of your body where it can't be copied, altered, or stolen. And then this thing is going to be mandated. All right, the charagma is going to be mandated. The micro C-hip, the things that the men of the Lord have been telling you is the mark of the beast, is going to be mandated, man. And it's going to be implanted directly under the skin of the people who need and want this thing and who trust in Esau. All right, all of their unique biometric measurements is going to be tied to your global digital blockchain system, man. All right, and you're going to need that micro C-hip to validate that you are who you are, or you're going to be locked out. And that's going to fulfill Revelation 13 and 17, which reads, "And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." You see, they're setting it up, man. They're setting it up. While all of y'all is making a fool of yourself by trying to make a fool of the prophets, these people are serious. So the lesson to us Israelites is that we have to understand that Esau is tracking your physical temple, your body, because he can't control the spiritual one, the one that was given by Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. But every time you choose convenience over privacy, right, you're interacting with this beast. Okay. What we have to do is remain spiritually vigilant. Now, we can't fall in love with convenience. We can't fall in love with Esau's word. We can't fall in love with Esau's digital world that he's ushering everybody into. And what the remnant and elect are going to do is we're going to keep our eyes open. Okay. We're going to know that this tech, okay, is proof that Esau is running out of time and is preparing for this final move, man. Okay. We also have to know that Yahushua is about to return to break this man's will, to break his dominion, to break his government. All right. So I was just touching on biometric surreption, another tool of this man's. So Lord willing, this came through as edifying. With that, I want to say all praise to Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahushua, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Our double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom, because that is what's coming if you don't take heed. Okay. And also, I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number. And Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.